Well, it sure is good to spend some time with you. Thank you for all that you do for our industry through Forbes. If it wasn't for you and your peers helping to tell our stories, then we would just be stuck in our little small ecosystems of the NFT NYC and other types of events like that. So we recognize that and we're grateful for it. And we're also thankful to have you come be a part of NFT London this upcoming November 3rd and 4th. So for folks that maybe haven't been exposed to what you write about our industry in Forbes, can you give us a little background on yourself?
Yeah, first of all, I'm extremely happy to be here today. I absolutely love the music. At the beginning, we already have a quick chat with you, so I feel that we're definitely on the same page, have some common hobbies, interests in the space. My name is Nikita Cikaluk. Once again, I'm an early advocate for the whole Web3 space. I started my journey back in 2017, uh, perhaps in a way similar to all of us through Bitcoin. Slowly but steadily, I moved to other altcoins, and suddenly I realized that the Web3 space, the blockchain itself, is much more than just crypto. So I found out a bit more about smart contracts, about DAOs, decentralized platforms, and finally NFTs. Right now, I'm growing in the space together with like-minded builders and advocates around NFTs. I'm extremely fascinated by utility-based NFTs, the role of community development in the NFT and the whole Web3 space, which is actually will be the title of my talk in London in 2 months from now. And right now, I'm a strong advocate for the space in three different roles, as you already mentioned, writing for Forbes. This is important for me to dive deeper into some of really challenging aspects of the space, mainly around NFTs, how NFTs are used for decision making, how NFTs are used for Web 2 slash Web 3 transition. I'm educating people and I'm educating myself as well. Secondly, I'm also a brand consultant for mainly for NFT-centric startups, partially for those of traditional businesses, traditional financial or entertainment businesses who are entering the Web3 space, helping them to actually realize how this Web3 space and NFT technology in particular can help them scale the business and actually connect with people. And lastly, me being active. Me being a part of different international communities like NFT Factory in Paris or Blockchain Alliance in Warsaw, actually just came 3 days ago from East Warsaw, implies that I need to be active both on stage and off stage to connect with some of the biggest players in the field and efficiently onboard more people. So answering your question, it's much more than just Forbes, just writing in media, just highlighting some of the biggest trends, but actually educating people, educating myself, because I do believe that we're still extremely early in the space, which is also the beauty of the space. And all these theses that we might have right now might take a certain part in the following journey of Web3 space. So I would like to learn more about it. I would like to talk more about it, and I would like to build about it. That's about me.
Well, thank you for sharing a bit about you. I'd like to talk a bit about telling stories. Can you share one or two things that you've done around either writing for Forbes or education, where you've been able to kind of tell a project story or tell a story about a part of the industry that you're like, man, I am so happy I was able to tell this story or bring exposure to this project or educate these people in this way? Why don't you give us an example or two of things that have really resonated with you that you've been able to put out so far?
Yeah, absolutely. As I just mentioned, the title of my presentation at my panel at NFT London will be We in Web3, a space built by people, for people. And it shows what is biggest interest of mine, that is community. Basically, people, building around people. And I'm a huge fan of supporting each other in the space. As I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago, no one actually knows what will be relevant there in months from now. And I'm fascinated by brands like MakerDAO, NetIsDAO, I don't know, some other big companies, Web3 native companies who already established themselves, but apart from just being this $1 million brand, they're actively connecting with their community. And I mean, not just voters and parts of their DAOs or part of some NFT collections, but actually people who are coming to learn more about the brand, people who are small dreamers, let's put it like this, who would like to connect more. For example, slightly more than a month ago, I presented during the ECC week in Paris. I shared the stage with some of the biggest players like Sebastien Berger, co-founder of Sandbox, and some others. And I had only one dream about the main conference, ECC, is to actually have a quick chat with Vitalik, just to have a sense of who he is as a person, instead of like his presentation, instead of the whole conference. Not that much interested into it. For me, it's more about side events. For me, it's more about my stage and people who are coming to actually connect with me to educate them. But one thing that I wanted about the conference was ECC. Didn't manage to get the tickets. They were extremely limited. And friends of mine, Chelsea from NetIsDAO, just gave me a ticket with one goal: to meet Vitalik, to chat with Vitalik, and just describe how was it. Everything happened. I went to the conference for 15 minutes, 10 minutes like seeing, chatting with Vitalik, 40 minutes seeing his presentation. I'm here. And that is the power of these big brands who already established themselves on this layer of top players in Web3, but they're still trying to build the community of international leaders, builders, influencers, celebrities, or just advocates for the space like me, a public speaker, brand consultant, who had a goal to connect with one specific person and then write about it, and then highlight some of these I don't know, topics or some of these reflections of this chat. And I managed to do it through MetisDAO, friends of mine, and there are hundreds of those companies around the world who are helping me, who I am helping. And that is, I do believe, the best thing about the space right now. We're early. People and companies don't know what to expect next. And based on these two main layers, we're trying not to compete with each other. That is basically the main slogan of Web2, trying to compete to have this one player, one dominance. Now, in Web3, we all are trying to contribute to something that has been already built, even if it's in a way of DAO proposal, even if it's in a way of giving some feedback while you're on stage or leaving some command under your article. That is the way how the space should build, because if we want this to be successful in the next 10, 20 years from now, we need to build it for people, not just for the sake of money or the sake of existence. We people gonna use it, and we need to build it already from the beginning in a way we would like to use it, in a way we would like to interact with it.
Are there stories that you want to tell? Like, for instance, if you knew that this woman that was working on this project or this team was going to be at NFT.London, and you're like, I just want to get access to them like I did with Vitalik. I want to tell this story. Are there stories that you're longing to tell, or people that you're wanting access to so that you can help tell their story to the world, whether it's through Forbes or through your brand consulting or through being a public speaker, but you're a storyteller ultimately?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I do believe I've already met even briefly with some of the biggest players in the field, CZ, Vitalik, Stani. I do believe, if you ask me, what is this one person with whom I would like just to have a friendly chat about life, just to understand the vision behind Web3 activities and what are the future plans, it would be perhaps G-Money, I would say. He's a guy who helped one of my favorite Web2 brands, Adidas, to officially enter the space. As you can see, I'm actually wearing Adidas merch that I got a couple of days ago, some swag here. He's also the guy who actually is owning a very unique and interesting NFT project at Meet One, which was distributed for people randomly through POAPs during the whole year. He meeting all these people at NFT NYC, for example, and giving POAPs to people. They got the access, and basically the floor for this NFT right now is something around 7-8 ETH, and that is what people dictate. But all of them get it for free just by connecting with him. And even though he's an anon in the space, he's open-minded to connecting with people. I've been in chat with him for a while. I'm extremely interested in writing a full article about him because I love how one anon can change the vision for the whole space. A couple of weeks ago, he even launched the first ever luxury clothing house in Web3 that is powered by a actual physical vault called 9D So basically, he's innovating the space. And even if you go to his webpage, he has a manifesto, basically the point that he follow while building in Web3. And one of these points states, build cool stuff with cool people. So he's not that much afraid of other people's opinion. He's not that much afraid of failing, because I do believe personally that failure is the best teacher. And he's here building. He's here enjoying the moment, swagging with other people, like building something new, whether it will be through Web2 companies like Adidas. He has close connections with Prada, or building his own brand. And I know that he's a common visitor of London. So if he's there, I would absolutely love to meet him and not just have this media interview, like official chat or whatsoever, but just friendly, I don't know, coffee chat about life, about vision, about his daily routine. Because me, looking at these people at my young age, it inspires me, and I want to know what drives people to build for 5, 10, 20 years, what drives people to be determined, regardless of market conditions, regardless of emotional state. So perhaps he's a guy who might not be that popular as Vitalik or CZ, but he's a guy who is building from scratch, and I want to actually learn how this building from scratch, bootstrapping, or whatever works in Web3 space.
I'm glad I asked. If you, yeah, you can connect with G Money, so we can talk about that afterwards. Being anonymous, being partially doxxed, or being fully doxxed. So if you look at G Money, fully anonymous, nobody knows who he is. He doesn't go up on stage necessarily, and then you have like spotty Wi-Fi, like he's anonymous kind of, but he still goes up on stage with his face, and so it's kind of the partially doxed thing. And then you have you and I, or other people like Gary Vaynerchuk, right? He's fully doxed, like whatever he's working on, he owns CryptoPunks, but he's not using a CryptoPunk with a fake name. Can you give me your thoughts on where are we at as an industry in terms of people deciding to be anon, doxed, somewhere in between, and where do you think that's going to be leading to as time goes on and things become more mature?
I absolutely love the question. I don't know whether you researched my previous publications, but that was the fourth publication from this June. Fully doxed in Web3 space. So basically, my take is really simple. It fully depends on the person's vision for, let's put like the next 10 years in this space. What is the end goal? If the goal is to slowly educate him or herself and without actually being proactive on stage, proactive online, it can be done by being anon. Once again, you just mentioned G Money, Punk 6529. Like these people are building one of the most fascinating projects in the space without being doxed, which works perfectly. Nevertheless, there are brands like Deadfellas, for example, Betty, who doxed herself at VCon this May. And she did it for certain reasons, mainly because she wanted to be active. She wanted to be trustworthy to the community. She wanted to have no questions to her, regardless her beliefs, her vision, stuff like that. She just wants to be herself, which works perfectly fine. It's much easier for you and me, people who are active in the space, and you started our conversation by stating that you had like 500 plus fireside chats since the last many years, and it implies that you need to be trustworthy, open-minded to people. You need to show your face. You need to show your emotions. If you don't put all these traits, this smile, life emotions, gestures into the conversation, it's going to be a shitty conversation. For me, constantly presenting on stage, like being on stage every second week, it also implies that I cannot hide. Even though my friends from NFT Paris, who are having their conference in February, I do believe there is a very first conference who are building two different stages, one fully doxed, one unknown. They're moving in the right direction. I still believe that for me, it's easier to use my own name. It's easier to use my own face because I want people to recognize me. I want to be connected with people through these interests, beliefs, and stuff like that. And there is a third part for consumers, for people entering the space. And the question here is also extremely simple. This doxed aspect is needed for companies entering the space. It's needed for them to actually identify who is their target audience. What do we know about blockchain? It's publicly visible. No information can be erased, no information can be added without actual transaction. And brands like Nike, Puma, BMW, they can see how much tokens do you hold in your wallet. What is the frequency of your transactions? What are some of the other brands that you are a fan of to make better decision-making mechanism when connecting with these 20K holders of NFT, to create collabs with the brands you're interested in, or give airdrops to long-term holders? Everything is visible. For them, this aspect of docs is needed to get a better understanding of their target audience and connect with them to build a strong and sustainable community. The question is whether a general user is willing to give this privacy, let's put it like this, like digital identity for everyone to be available publicly for some rewards going long term, whether it will be some airdrops, whether it will be invitation to in real life events, whether it will be some physical goods sent to your home, to your address. That is the questions that every general user need to make on his or her own. I'm a fan of it from the aspect of me being active with people. It's much easier to connect, it's much easier to show who I actually am. And it's also easier for me to understand the space if I participate in all of its aspects, whether it's some physical goodies, whether it's some in real life events, conferences, or anything else. So I'm fully doxed. Perhaps in 5 years from now, I decide that I'm going to have another character of mine who will be Anon. Who knows? People are having their own vision about it and their own reasons to be doxed or anon. I'm not against or for any of those. I do believe that both, as we can see from current market stage, both works perfectly well and align well with each other. For me, it's doxed because that is a way to get the whole benefit of the space and connect with people. I guess for you, that is exactly the same.
Yeah, there was no thought of being anonymous back when I got involved with NFTs in 2017. So back then it was like we didn't think of it as PFPs, right? They were just these collectible cyber, kind of assets. I want to ask you this before we wrap up, and it's who do you enjoy learning from, right? Both of us are educators in this industry, and we do it different ways. So like when I think of like women that I really learn a lot from, I think of, Rachel, senior reporter at Cointelegraph, or I think of Avery, right? The president of Vayner.
I love her a lot.
So are there some women that you'd like to give a shout out to that you think, hey, if you're not reading what they're writing, or if you're not listening to their talks, like I've learned a lot from them, and everybody at NFT.London should also be thoughtful. So any gals that you'd like to kind of share with me and share with us that you really enjoy seeing how they're educating folks?
Yeah. Absolutely. You just mentioned one of the companies I'm part of, I'm a fan of, is basically Vayner NFT, Vayner Media, VFriends. So Avery, who is the director of Vayner NFT, is definitely a person to learn from. Another member of the same Gary squad, and that's something I give a lot of props to, is Maha. She's originally from Egypt. There's a whole long story how she connected with Gary Vee. She worked for him for free just to get the sense of technology, just to get the sense of the whole marketing aspects, Web 2, Web 3. And right now, she's basically the lady who is organizing all logistic questions, all event organization for him, like the lady who had chosen Minneapolis for VCons, lady who organized all this circus inside the conference, who organized all stages, connected Gary with some of the biggest OGs. So those people who actually connectors, let's put it like this, who actually connect people in real life, whether it will be through events, whether it will be through some smaller conferences and meetups, they deserve a lot of respect because they not only need to be literate in the Web3 space and understand how the technology works, but they need to be also connected with some of the biggest builders. They need to know those names, even if you're not connected, to find out the way to connect. And finally, they need to connect those people with general audience. People who might be newbies, who might just come to the conference because they have heard that NFTs are cool. People who might come to learn, to grow even more, or even some advanced users who might know more technical aspects of these questions than the speaker, but you need to find this direct line between them, line of connection. Uh, Another prop, and perhaps the final one, even though there are a lot of ladies, and I don't want to put anyone down, there are a lot of ladies, like perhaps 20 of those on my list, like Grida, a member of NFT Factory, who is an excellent artist from Paris, like Nico, a friend of mine from the Fashion DAO, who is driving the fashion, digital fashion industry. One person who I would like to highlight specifically is Yingzi. She's founder and organizer of the Metaverse Summit, which happened in Paris 2 months ago. And she's actually the first ever, it is actually the first ever woman-led Web3 conference. So she's the first woman who created, organized, founded the conference with the team under her management. It deserves a lot of respect. It is she's a woman who was traveling around the world for a couple of years to gather all these OGs on stage, to connect with people, to actually understand what are the best elements that work at NFT NYC, Paris Blockchain Week Summit, DEF CON, NFT LA. She was gathering the information, she was analyzing it, and it took her a couple of years to actually organize a hell of an event. And I know that they're coming back next year. Definitely going there and recommending if you are interested about VR, AR, and the metaverse aspect of Web3. But apart from that, once again, there are tens, even like hundreds of women I'm directly connected with, I have worked with. Cannot physically name all of them, even though if there will be a panel just to name all these women I adore, connecting with and inviting them to London, that would be a hell of a panel. I bet that would be one of the best performances there. Yeah, that's my take.
Well, I am very glad I asked you that question. Usually I ask questions like that and people like throw out a name or two, and you went for it. You shotgunned us with lots and lots of amazing women that inspire you, that you're learning from, that you collaborate with. And so anybody watching this, rewind and think about these different gals. Are you already learning from them? How might you benefit from the things that they are doing?
Exactly.
I'm going to share our banner on the screen before you
And I do
wrap up.
believe, just sure,
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, just last thing that I wanted to say about all these girls and women in the space. They are all coming from different backgrounds with different vision for the space. Some of them are just creating art because they are diehard fan of this beauty, this nature, crypto art. Some of them are much stronger into organizing aspect because they're coming from sales or marketing background, and they're transitioning into the new space, new ecosystem, and they're learning with us. And that is the beauty, that these women are not afraid to learn. They're not afraid to make a mistake and admit that they made a mistake by organizing this conference or not having this back communication with all the users and stuff like that. That's something that happens. But I adore seeing how they evolve and how are they inspiring the younger generation. There are many younger generations, people around 18 years of age, people around 14 years of age, who are trying to join the space, even if it's just watching some YouTube videos, some of these keynote speeches. That is the way how we're onboarding the next millions, next billion of people to Web3. And that is the way how it should be done.
Well, I can't imagine a better thing to end on. I did pull up our banners, so people can see your Twitter account and can follow you there. Thank you for jumping in. I'm so excited to spend time with you in London. And for those that joined us for this, whether live or the archive, thank you for your attention. And if you're not planning on it, come join us November 3rd and 4th at NFT.London, happening at the QE2, which is going to be an incredible experience for all of them.